Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and I'm going to share with you something that I believe will be one of the greatest drivers of XRP price appreciation over this market cycle, and probably realistically persisting far beyond that. And it has to do with this exact headline: $700 million in Bitcoin removed from exchanges as Bitcoin liquidity crisis gets harder. Yes, think about that. A liquidity crisis. That's what it's being labeled as. And hey, fair enough, actually. And what they're talking about here is there's not enough Bitcoin to go around, frankly. Like that's effectively the message that they're getting at here. And there's some new data that I want to point at, because there are a couple stories here which I'm going to have to touch on just to make sure everybody's caught up. I'll be brief because I made full videos on these, so I'm not going to take deep dive into these particular pieces. But here's a headline from AMB Crypto. Here's how many Bitcoin is left for retailers to buy. And another one from AMB Crypto: if you sell your Bitcoin right now, chances are they will end up in this sector's hands. And they're talking about institutions. And so what we're seeing here right now is people that are purchasing Bitcoin, they're put into deep cold storage and it's off the exchange. And so you might ask, well, why is this happening? What is different here? What's going on? And this is I'm telling you, this is gonna be, because this is a narrative that I firmly believe is the case. So I'm going to be sharing it going forward until there's evidence that this is not the case, which I don't think is going to happen, but I'll let you know if I change my mind. I always reserve the right to change my opinions. I don't want to be a stick in the mud. I want to be open-minded. But it seems very clear to me that the reason this is happening is because it's whales. So large-term holders, it can be individuals, and it's certainly true that institutions and large corporations are coming in and purchasing Bitcoin. There's tons of evidence of that, which I've been highlighting on this channel. So why does this matter to us as XRP holders? Well, to put it simply, XRP is following the price action of Bitcoin. So be aware of all of this that is happening. And again, like whether we like it or not, it just is a matter-of-fact thing. XRP, look at a chart over the last decade, in a general sense, it does follow Bitcoin. The whole market moves together. And you do have these rotation cycles where Bitcoin rallies by itself, and then money comes out of that, and then it goes back into alts, and then it's like the circle of life, man. All right? It really is. Like, this is exactly what it's looking like here. So I want to start with this piece really briefly, which was titled, "Here's How Many Bitcoin is Left for Retailers to Buy." And so what they do in this piece, and I'll be super duper brief here, because again, I thoroughly covered this and talked about it and shared my in-depth opinion and analysis on this. But it really has to do with entities coming in like Grayscale MicroStrategies that agree to which they're snatching up Bitcoin just like crazy, an insane amount of it. They cite how much Bitcoin is lost forever, and it's an estimate, but it was estimated to be at 4 million Bitcoin out of a max supply of 21 million. And so when you factor that in, you factor in how much has already been mined, and the fact that there's about 2.4 million Bitcoin yet to be mined, which will occur over the next 100 years or so. That actually doesn't leave that much Bitcoin on the market for the rest of us. And consider, before I even share with you like how much is left, consider that it's like a tiny percentage of humans that own Bitcoin or any crypto at all. Almost nobody on the planet owns crypto, and it's already getting to the point where it's looking like there are just scraps left. Seriously, look at this. You ultimately, so there you go. Leaves about, when everything is said and done, I'm just going to cut to the chase this article, leaves about 1.801 million Bitcoin readily available and for the taking of retail institutions and whales alike. And we see an increase of institutions and whales coming in and snatching it up. So out of the 21 million, 1.8, that's it. That right now. And where do you think Bitcoin's going to be here in 5 years or 10 years? Because if you do, it's going to be even more ridiculous as more people pour in. And it could be the case, and there's arguments for this. We'll see how it unfolds, but there's a case to be made that it's really institutions finally that are going to be driving this next market cycle in a major fashion, because they're the ones with the deep pockets that are dramatically affecting the supply and demand dynamics of Bitcoin and the crypto asset class. And so I love seeing this. And I do believe also you will see not just Bitcoin, but altcoins are going to be snatched up by institutions. As soon as people are confident of long-term viability, which means the asset class needs to mature because people are not sufficiently parsing out the differences between coins, but I think we'll get there. And then there's this one. If you sell your Bitcoin right now, chances are they will end up in this sector's hands. And really, I'll just cut to the chase on this one too. We're basically talking about if you're selling your Bitcoin on exchange today, a ton of it is actually just going into the deep pockets of companies like MicroStrategy, which is now, they're effectively about to spend over $1 billion in Bitcoin. It's nuts. I covered it in my last video. Check it out. And then Grayscale. And there are others. And so there's just a couple ones. There's some of the most popular ones to talk about. But it's going into deep cold storage. And so given that it won't hit the market again anytime soon, if ever, or it could be decades from now, because these are people like MicroStrategy, they said, yeah, we're just going to hold it for like 100 years. And it doesn't mean literally 100 years. They're saying that in a figurative sense to state, we are long Bitcoin. So entities that have the deep pockets, they're not going to engage in the emotional buying and selling of Bitcoin. They're not like lemmings off a cliff. So they will hold, and they won't emotionally respond as the retail sector does. So the retail side there'll be those humans that decide what XRP and Bitcoin's worth, because that's what the open market is. I'm just saying they're going to have less to fight over. And so if there's less supply available for the lemmings to fight over, what do you think is going to happen? Well, it's going to ramp up in price. Insanely up in price. Almost, again, I can't stress this enough, there are almost no humans invested in the crypto asset. We're here first. It's astonishing to me. And so the people that are not paying attention, my gosh, like, endless regret is what you're going to feel for the rest of your life, I'm sorry to say here. And so this piece now from crypto media outlet You Today, $700 million in Bitcoin removed from exchanges as Bitcoin liquidity crisis gets harder. Danny Scott, head of UK-based crypto exchange Coin Corner, has taken to Twitter to opine that a Bitcoin liquidity crisis is taking place. Scott points out that another $700 million in Bitcoin has been withdrawn by users from exchanges for long-term hodling. Crypto users call this stacking sats. Of course, that means Satoshis, which is the smallest unit of a single Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin, for those of you not in the know, it's divisible by 100 million. So there's 100 million little pieces that make up one individual Bitcoin. And for XRP, it's actually fewer. There's actually only 1 million little pieces inside of each individual XRP. And so here you go. So here's the subheading now. Another $700 million in Bitcoin taken into long-term storage. Do you guys see what I'm talking about? Like, I'm not just making this stuff up here. And look, I don't have a financial background, so this is not financial advice. Don't buy or sell anything because anything I say are right. But I firmly believe what I'm saying, so it's just my everyday Joe Schmo unprofessional opinion. But tell me I'm wrong, which is fine because actually I like diversity of thought. But just articulate your position if you think I'm actually wrong, because to me this is crystal clear and it's awesome for XRP holders, in my humble opinion. I mean, it's going to get ridiculous because not only is it true that XRP follows Bitcoin now, but eventually, like I said, just wait till companies start snatching up XRP. And some are, actually. I reported on a publicly traded company just the other day that purchased a bunch of XRP. But I'm saying you'll see more and more of it. So anyway, in his recent tweet, Danny Scott insists that the flagship cryptocurrency is going through a liquidity crisis right now, as users start to acquire Bitcoin and get it off exchanges for long-term storage in wallets. As an argument for this, he posted a Glassnode chart showing that users continue to withdraw Bitcoin from trading platforms. As per the tweet, another gargantuan amount of Bitcoin, $700 million worth, has been taken off exchanges in the past week, and there's this tweet on the screen indicating it. So this is the direction things are going, and this is fantastic. And it's because of large holders, individual whales, institutions, and publicly traded companies, and just large companies that want to hold it as a treasury reserve asset. And that brings more people into crypto, and then they start checking out altcoins, and there you go. If not for Bitcoin, well, first of all, XRP wouldn't exist, and I certainly would not have found out about it ever, and which is perfectly fine. Like, I appreciate the history of the crypto asset class. Here's a piece from Cointelegraph. Anthony Pompliano breaks down his Bitcoin outlook for 2021. Check this out. Man, I'll tell you what, as much as I think it's ridiculous he's a Bitcoin maxi troll, I actually agree with him on almost 100% of everything else that he believes having to do with crypto and the macro trend and like the debasement of the US dollar. So he's a smart guy. I just don't like, I'm not into maximalism of any coin. But anyway, in an exclusive interview with Cointelegraph, Pomp reaffirmed the Bitcoin price prediction he made back in 2019. It's going to be pretty aggressive. I am pretty confident in Bitcoin to $100,000 by the end of 2021. And that's a quote from Pompliano. Together with favorable macroeconomic conditions, Pompliano sees that after having effect as one of the main catalysts that could drive Bitcoin towards that potential target. Pomp believes that Bitcoin's diminishing supply, coupled with increased demand from institutional investors, will drive Bitcoin's price to new highs. Well, how about that? I've been saying this forever, and he is too, to his credit. And hell yeah. Absolutely, hell yeah, this is exactly what's happening. Now, even though there are around 18.5 million Bitcoin currently in circulation, he acknowledged that this number does not take into account a large portion of Bitcoin that have not moved for a long time. This means the real available supply is actually smaller. Bitcoiners are not selling their Bitcoin, he said. That's a quote. Could not be more true. And there's data to prove this. And it's, if you understand basic economics, the basic economics of supply and demand, then you should already know what's going to happen without me telling you. Like, we know how this plays out. When there's not enough supply and increasing demand, prices rise, my friends. Prices rise. And the market still needs to figure this all out, and there won't be, there's not going to be 7,000 cryptocurrencies that have true staying power, but those that offer true utility, such as XRP, will, in my humble opinion. And as long as XRP continues to be genuinely adopted, I'm going to feel that way. And if that ever changes, I will be screaming it from the rooftops right here on this channel. But I am Mr. XRP Bull for a reason. So just be aware of all of this so that you can make your own informed decisions and just keep emotion out of the buying and selling, and just make sure you're informed. And feel free to get help from a financial advisor, but that's not me. I'll wrap up here, though. I am not a financial advisor, so just to be super duper clear, just don't buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I could not more seriously mean that. I'm just a dude on the internet, and you don't even know if I'm wearing pants. And I'm not. I'm wearing shorts. Get your mind out of the gutter. All right, that's it. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.